Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the Backlog Podcast number 48, and today we got a chance to sit down with gpbear and talk about what it's like to be a TO for bigger tournaments like Evo and Combo Breaker, Japanese arcade culture, and working with bigger YouTubers like Guile Win-Quotes. Hope you enjoy this episode. Yeah, guys, usually for the first 10 to 15 minutes, we kind of just talk about whatever, and then we're going to delve into the interview. But I suppose we should start off with introductions. Yo, I'm Matt.
August.
Quintessence.
And I'm gpbear4.
Yeah, we got a guest on today, gpbear4, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to know why?
Sure, why not? Yeah.
Descendants of GP.
Okay.
He's the fourth with the title.
No, I'm not the fourth, but
He'll be
call
the
it?
three.
When I was a kid, I was into Gunpla modeler kits, like the Gundam plastic model kits. And what do you call it? So there was this one that I had that was called Bear Guy, and I think it was kind of
Bear Guy.
Bear Guy.
The reason why I think it was so there was a mini series called Gunpla Builders, Beginning G, I think it was called, and so in this mini series, there's about these kids that would build these model kits, and then they would use them in this AR VR game, you know. And so there's this one kid who she got one of those Xeon suits that's called Act Guy or some shit, and she modified it to look like a bear. Just took the head off and made a bear head, and called a Bear Guy. And so they actually produced the model kits from that mini series in real life, and that was the one for that kit was number 4 in the series. So GP stands for Gunpla and Bear is 4.
So are you saying you're not still into Gunpla?
I mean, yeah, I guess not, but I got I bought a kit sort of recently. I haven't really gotten around to assembling yet, but when I was a kid, I would just, whenever I got any money, I would just put it towards that.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, not as much into it anymore, but
A Gundam fan after my own heart.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a very specific hobby for a kid. It's that. Those shits are what, $100 or more?
No,
there's cheap
$20.
ones.
Yeah, $20.
Really?
There's different.
There's
There's so they have different things. They have high grades, which are kind of the standard ones that people usually get into. Those are the ones that are 15 usually, or 20 or whatever, 30. And those are 1 to 144 scale. But then they have the master grades, which are a little bit more detailed, and they're also larger. They're was it 1 to 50? I can't remember. No, not 1 to 50. It was 1 to 100 or something. And then they have perfect grades, which are 1 to 60. So those are the even larger ones that are more detailed, and those are super expensive all the time.
They also have the real grades now, which are the
Right.
same size as the high grades, but they're the
1 to
detail
144.
of the masters.
Yeah, those ones are sick.
I love those. Those are my favorite by far.
Yeah, I think when I was starting to getting out of it, real grades, they had a couple of them. They're I think they had 5 of them when I was kind of getting out of it.
They were hand grenades when they first came out. If you slightly drop them, they just explode.
Yeah.
I remember when
They keep on making those kits even better. They have trays now that you don't even have to snip them out. You just
I haven't
pop
seen
them out.
that. That's sick.
Yeah.
I hated the snipping back when I was just. Japanese
It's
action
so
figures that do
cathartic
that.
for me. I'm just
hate that.
snip, snip, snip.
Yeah, it's pretty satisfying. I wouldn't be
Watching all the
surprised if
pieces
there was
go
some
together.
ASMR streamers doing Gunpla. I would not be surprised.
I could see it.
make it happen.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool stuff. Just Gundam designs have always been super sick. I actually spent an hour last night just checking out all the like Gundam Maxi Boost games, and apparently there's already been 2 sequels in Japan that we haven't got, and I just got salty about that already.
We get like a trickle of the massive amount of Gundam versus games.
Oh god, they look so sick though. Oh man.
Gun damn it.
I'm talking about cool looking arena fighters. Those games are dope looking.
They're deeper than a traditional arena fighter too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, those games look crazy. It's also really sick how they like actually make the console versions like you can pair them to the other consoles, like how they work in the arcade, like how you can get your own monitor. Like each console can get their own monitor. It's really cool.
I can't remember the exact name of the game, but there's one here that's like that where it's like you have 2 people that can run around an arena with guns, and like you can shoot at people. Like you have like actual
duel, is it? No.
I don't know, but anyway, you have like 2 guns. You're running around, and there's like different controls and stuff. It's a pretty cool game. I think it's at my round 1 actually.
Yeah, I know.
Gunslinger or something?
Yeah.
Is it called Gunslinger?
Stratos?
Yeah, Gunslinger Stratos. Yeah. Yeah, that game's fun.
I don't know if that's the name of it, honestly. I'm just guessing.
I'm pretty sure that's what it's called.
Yeah.
Like, I played it too. It's at round, we go to the same round 1.
Yeah, of course.
You have the guns, so you can, like, air dash. If you, like, throw the guns up in the air, like, go forward and then shoot. And, yeah, that shit's nuts.
Guns to Duel.
Guns to Duel is on PC. I was just making a Guns to Duel. But, no, I think it is Gunslinger Stratos. That's a fun game. If, like, seriously, for any people out there that haven't played, like, some really random niche Japanese arcade shit, like, go to your round 1 if you have a local one and just look around, because there's gonna be some weird shit somewhere in a corner, and it's gonna be hella fun.
Yeah, like Daytona, USA. What the hell?
I'll have to move to you guys so I can experience the round 1.
Yeah. You want to get a round in your whole state?
No.
Really? That's
No.
We're gonna have to fly Quinn out.
Maybe there's one in Seattle. Maybe. I don't want to go to Seattle though.
We'll have to fly you out. Just to,
we'll have to fly Quinn out and then just do like a live like in-person podcast one of these times.
That would actually be
cool. Fantastic.
Yeah.
We'll make him eat lobster for the first time, even though
he's never had the real thing.
Never had lobster.
He's never had the real man lobster.
Only the canned stuff.
Yeah.
Wait, you're kidding?
No, he's not kidding.
You've never had?
Oh, dead serious.
You've really never had lobster? I don't even like lobster now. I mean, granted, I live in Lobster Central.
I like lobster. I've had lobster, yes.
Not
often though, because it costs a lot of money for a goddamn sea bug.
For the sea bug?
If you live in the lobster capital of the world like us, we can hook you up.
Can't remember if I had lobster. I must have had it like at least once, but
I think everyone's had it once. Or most people have.
Everybody had it.
Sounds like I just gotta try it again if I can't remember it. Like, I gotta just.
It can be good with. I'm one of those people that don't traditionally like the taste, so I have to like douse it in butter, like just slaughter it in butter. But it can be good.
Yeah, it's not terrible. I mean, a lot of people really like it, but I think it's also because it's typically rare where everyone is. So.
Yeah. It's like the caviar of like meats. Like it's
the caviar of meats. What?
So caviar's already a meat, but like more traditional meats. You know what I mean? Like it's
Wait,
like it's
could you tell me what the traditional meats are, opposed to untraditional meats?
You know what?
Dick.
You got your chicken.
Whoa.
You got your pork. You got No, it's like again, it's like a meat that people don't have very often, and it's considered high class, even though its taste is a little like for normal people.
Oh.
How is it a little less?
Does it depend on like your location too? Like
I like seafood.
Might be more common in some areas or something.
So we live in Maine. So, so Maine is known for its lobster and blueberries and potatoes, but in particular, its lobster here is cheaper than everywhere else because, of course, we're just getting it straight. It's coming straight out of the water, whereas like other places have to pay like shipping costs and stuff like that. So yeah. It depends on the location. Other places are known for lobster too. It's just we're kind of like it kind of goes hand in hand. Like people use
lobster
the
in
term.
Maine, you know, Idaho and potatoes.
There's literally
Okay.
a term people use called Maine lobster when they describe lobster, to put it that way.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
If you guys need apples, I got you. Washington,
infested
we
with
got
this
apples.
You got apples? Yeah.
We got apples.
We got apples. Hey.
GP Bear, what's your state known for?
Johnny Appleseed.
Shoot,
Visitor.
You don't
I
have
mean,
to
I'm
say.
in California, so
Okay.
I don't. Food. I mean,
Hippies?
Is
I
there?
guess people, burgers maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I was just like, In and Out. Like, got that In and Out.
There's some good burger places. Like there's a lot of good burger places around here. So.
You know, there's like Five Guys, In and Out,
I mean, also like what do you call
Shake
it?
Shack.
Like in the area I'm in, there's like a lot of like Asian communities. So we have like a lot of like Asian restaurants here. Like there's some like really good Vietnamese.
Ooh, I love Vietnamese food.
Never had
Vietnamese.
much Vietnamese food, actually. I'm gonna check that out.
Honestly, August, after this podcast, we should go to the Vietnamese place down the
For
road.
real, bro. Yeah, like, go get
I'm
some,
down.
Go get some eats.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get some like banh mi. Oh,
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is, and it sounds good.
It's like a Viet Cup sandwich. Yeah.
It's a sandwich.
It's so good. Oh, it's so good. It has like pickled vegetables and
You said you're in Washington, right?
yeah.
So there is 3 round 1s in Washington, apparently.
Ooh,
Um,
that's stats.
but
Stats.
yeah, let me see where they are.
Seattle.
Do you know where
Washington.
Tacoma is?
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah.
Or like Lakewood? There's one that's sort of near there. And then the other one's like really far south. It's like next to like Portland, but
Yeah, what?
almost. Not
Yeah,
Portland.
bro.
Isn't it low key like a big
Vancouver.
state,
California.
like top to
Vancouver.
bottom? Like
What'd
how
you
long
say?
does it? How long does it take to drive from the top to bottom of Washington? Like, isn't Washington kind of big?
It looks kind of big.
It's pretty big. It's
Yeah.
6-8 hours, something like that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Yeah, it's a pretty long state, like vertically, and it's even longer horizontally. Yeah,
Oregon only
you know
has
what I mean.
one round 1.
That's how we quantify.
And then you accidentally hit California. Like, oh shit! Go back! Go back! Go back!
But yeah. Oh, by the way, did anybody get a chance to try the Resident Evil 4 demo?
Hell yeah, I did.
Okay.
It
awesome.
was so good. Like,
What'd you think, man?
it spooked me, man. It actually, like, the atmosphere it gives you is just so creepy. Like, I never really felt intimidated or like scared in the original, but this game just hit different.
I feel like they've
Like-
mastered creepy after like 7. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually think they sort of. So I don't know if you feel the same way, but I feel like Resident Evil 2 Remake was really super duper scary in terms of the remake
Really?
games. Yeah, I was genuinely scared for most of that game. And then Resident Evil 7 really wasn't as scary after you get out of the first section, in my opinion.
Agreed.
And it just sort of like 7 was like, okay, it's pretty scary, and then they kind of like change. They kept switching it up, and so then I was like, okay, yeah, this is kind of scary. And then 8 to me really wasn't scary at all, if I'm being frank.
Yeah, 8, I never really felt like that actual fear. Probably because they just had me always loaded up on every
Yeah, it's an
kind of
action
ammo
game.
and every gun known to man. Because the enemies are bullet sponges.
Yeah. And that's kind of the meme, right? Like Ethan just can't die.
Yeah, it's just whatever.
Tanks everything.
Yeah. GP Bear, did you have a chance to try the demo?
I've never even played Resident Evil.
Oh man,
Okay.
not even.
Yeah.
It's a great time to get in. It's a great time to get in for a remake.
Ground
4
floor.
was the one that was like on the GameCube and that era,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Yep. GameCube,
Yeah.
Wii. Yep.
Cool. Yeah.
The famous suplex.
By the way,
I know like they made a bunch of like peripherals and stuff for that. Like they had like the GameCube that like was for Resident Evil 4. Like there's a GameCube controller with the logo printed on it, And then like they had, wasn't that when they also made the chainsaw controllers for both PlayStation 2 and GameCube?
Yes.
That was a thing?
Yeah, they did make the chainsaw controller. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
weird.
Like when I was really into Smash, I was like looking into all these different kinds of GameCube controllers that were made, so I end up seeing those things.
Certainly, yeah.
My only wish with the GameCube controller is they would make one for adult hands. Like the older I get, the more I'm like, like pressing the L and R buttons are killing my hands.
If you got big hands, that controller's just
apparently, yeah. But seriously, as a kid, it was one of my favorite controllers. But the older I get, the more I play Smash, I'm just like, oh damn, the arthritis must be setting in.
I mean, it was just designed basically for like Smash and like Mario Sunshine and stuff. And outside of that, it's virtually useless. I'll be honest.
It's perfect for Smash, perfect for a couple other games, but oh my god, like
it has not aged well.
Murdered my hands, and I love that controller.
It's not a very all-around type of thing.
But I mean, out of the feel of Resident Evil 4, the demo, at least, you know, and remakes coming out literally next week, which is insane. The game, and like I'm personally conflicted because I'm like, well, do I play my regular games this week or do I, you know, bust into Resident RE4 remake?
Bust into remake.
And then, you know, after, you know, the demo, I kind of realized like, oh, this game feels so different than the original, you know, and like things will be in the same place, but the game has an overall different feel on how, you know, the enemies react, how like you hurt them, how you damage them, and then how they swarm you. It all feels so much more intelligent, and it kind of brings a whole new kind of
ramped up.
It feels like it, yeah. But I also think a part of me thinks it's like, well, the difficulty feels like it's ramped up because you don't have that sort of familiarity that you had with 4, the original. Because it's like, to me, 4 OG RE4 is a comfort food, right? I can play it at any time. I know where everything is for the most part. It's always a good time. It still holds up. With this game, it felt like I was always barely in control of a situation. Whereas in RE4, I felt like I was always pretty much in control. But I think that's just sort of like a spending time with it type thing. And then, you know, just it has like the sort of the same typical beginning to the village area, right? But like once you get to the, you know, there's usually a spot you can go on top of the roof and sort of deal with everything, right? But it's not the same, right? They'll be on you. The enemies will hound you. Like they'll be on top if you're not fending them off correctly. Also, there's a part that I really love that like subverted my expectation, where in the original game you can climb the clock tower or the tower. Yes. You can get to the top of the tower, right? And you can sit up there and you can just camp. And like if an enemy climbs up, you kick them down. In this version of the game, in the remake, you climb to the top of this tower, and then the floor breaks from underneath you.
Yes.
So they're like, no, you can't camp here anymore. We're taking this away from you.
I was so upset.
We're taking this away from you.
I took so much damage from that. Because I felt like right on top of like 6 guys that were just waiting for me.
Yeah.
They just beat the crap out of me. I'm like, all right.
Always love game developers that take like expected design or things you expect and then like invert kind of like the trope or invert the original mechanics on you.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if any of you ever played that like online like web game like Cat Mario. But literally it takes like all the normal Mario spots where you think you would jump and makes it so if you jump at that time it would kill you. So you have to like completely change the way you play Mario.
Right.
But I love game developers that kind of use your expectations against you. It's always so much fun, especially when it comes from a previous game.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm really looking forward to the remake, and so a part of me is like, well, maybe I should just save RE4 remake for my own personal time, right? Like when, you know, and just kind of enjoy it and not have to stream it in front of like people and have them tell me how I should play the game, and you know, just to get to fully like absorb it. You know what I mean? And
that backseating?
I mean, let me tell you.
Messages backseating. I could be like, type. I know you're playing RE4 right now.
Literally just call him, text him while he's playing.
Well, you've been playing. So Steam says you've been playing for this long, and you're probably at this area in the game now. So Sadler explodes and everybody dies, and that's the end of the game. It's like, oh, how did you? Damn it, he knew. He spoils the game for you before it ends. But yeah,
I think they're gonna change the story.
I think it seems like it'll be the same, but just enough difference to kind of, you know. But I'm waiting for the big, oh, that's really different. Like the
Well, I mean, they already gave Leon more personality and like the 8 minutes.
How dare you?
In the beginning than he had for most of the game. Sorry. Not sorry.
I mean, you're probably right. I don't know. I don't 100% agree with you, but I'd have to play it again, and I'd have to like play through the game and be like, agree or disagree, right? So, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to that, and it's gonna be a rough couple of weeks for gaming and streaming. I'll say that right now. It's gonna be tough.
It's gonna be a crazy year. Like, big fighting game releases. Like RE4
fighting games.
Capcom is balling out of control. Diablo 4, if you're into those games, like it's gonna be a crazy year.
Yo, GP, are you gonna be playing Street Fighter 6?
I'll probably try it. Like, I think with like fighting game releases, I kind of just want to try it before I buy it, because I kind of learned it with Dragon Ball Fighters. Like, I was really excited for that game because, like, I knew like the Dragon Ball IP, of course, it's very popular, so like everyone's gonna be on it. And then it's like Marvel too, or like a Marvel style game, so like a lot of people are into that. So, and then also it's very it only uses quarter circle motion, so like it's very easy to like learn the characters' move sets and stuff. So it's like, oh, it sounds perfect, but I forgot I'm not really that into tag games, actually. Like, so like when I bought it, I was like felt like I was making myself play it. And also, like, some things about the game just didn't feel right to me anyways. Like, I don't know, like the way that the movement felt was kind of strange to me, and like the way grabs worked and like the reflect, I was like, I don't know. Like, I was playing for like a season or two, but I kind of popped off after that. Like, I didn't really stick with it, and I was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't buy these games like as soon as they come out. Maybe I'll just play it for like at locals or something first.
Yeah. Me and MK11.
Anytime I buy a game right when it comes out and then proceed to not play it, I'm like, well, I was supporting the devs.
Supporting the devs, baby.
Yeah, that's true.
Support them.
But yeah, no, I know the feeling. Like, I think DBZ is a cool game. I also kind of bounced off it. Tag games, I think I have the same issue. I'm like, why learn one character? You can learn 3, and it's like I only wanted to learn 1.
Yeah,
it's kind of like the thing with like the anime style games too. Like the sequences are like so long. Like in anime games, like tag games in general, it's just like, I don't know, it's just like I kind of forget like where I'm at in like the combo string. It's just like, man, it's too much, and then you have to manage your like assists and stuff on top of that. It's just like there's just too much.
All right, I'm still looping standing mediums. All right, cool, we're good.
Yeah.
Fall asleep for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Playing Goku does that,
Goku.
Skullgirls is my most played game on Steam. Like, and I suck at it. It's just like a game that like everyone, like, that was a game I was like getting all my friends into fighting games with. It's just like, it's always on sale for like $2 or whatever. It has good online and stuff. It has a lot of resources to learn, but
I feel like that's the first rule of being like a sane and stable fighting game player, though. Like, you just have to accept you're not playing it because you're like good at it. You're just playing it because you enjoy it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you have to accept that like being bad comes with the game, and you just gotta have fun.
Oh yeah, I guess being like, I shouldn't say like just because I was bad at it, because like I just that style of game, you know, it's just. I mean, I didn't really like. I couldn't be bad at it and enjoy it. Like okay, Project M was like my main game for like the longest time, and I would always get like last at every event I would go to. But I enjoy, like, I love playing it so much, so I kept going. So
there's something beautiful about that.
Yeah, it's not necessarily just being bad at it. Yeah. Just like I couldn't make myself want to play it, you know.
It reminds me of that meme. It's like too good to play with friends and too bad to actually compete.
Yeah, isn't it like a hard drive article? Like, man who's too good to play against friends. But yeah, for real. That's a mode. It's a whole mode. Yeah, I mean, like you don't go 0-2 for the stats. You go 0-2 at tournaments for just hanging out with the boys. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, those events, like the big events, are. I mean, I usually try to tell people, like, it's even more fun at those events when you're not competing, because there's like so much stuff to do. Like events like Evo and stuff. It's like they're huge. Like you don't have to just like compete. I mean, there's like people like setting up their like laptops to play like some random shit. You know, like
hell yeah.
it's they're so fun.
That real basement shit.
Yeah. When I went to Combo Breaker, I set up my PS2 there. And I was next to the developer of Among Us Arena. Like he had his stuff set up right next to me.
That's awesome! Oh my god!
So yeah, Combo Breaker, man, events like those, they're so much fun.
Combo Breaker is the dream event, from what I hear. Like it's the for like first experience, like beginner going to FGC events. It's the one you want to go to. Like have fun.
Highly
guaranteed, pretty much.
So I think we kind of cracked in this a little bit. We're a little warmed up now. So, yo, GP Bear, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and what got you into the FGC?
Well, I guess I mentioned before, so I played Smash a lot, like back when I was in high school. I graduated high school like 2016, for context. And I was telling Matt about this a lot, like the other day. So seeing like I played Smash when I was like really young too, like in elementary school. So I went for like Melee to Brawl, but then in high school at some point I saw like a match, like a competitive match of Melee on the YouTube, and I just like that was like my first time seeing like a competitive like video game. Like, and they're, Melee, they have like all these techniques that like weren't even like intended or whatever. So I was like amazed by that. I was like, how are they even like doing all these things? Like, I didn't even know the concept of like people like actually learn are able to like learn so much about a video game. So I started just like learning about all that stuff with Melee, and that was like my main game for a while. And then like Project M.
Rest in peace, Project M.
Rip.
Yeah, I mean, even after you can still play it, and like I would still go to locals and stuff. Like, but I think like what do you call it? That whole thing with like the they stopped development because they didn't want to like get like in trouble with like Nintendo or whatever.
Yeah.
Supposedly they got DMCA'd, but there was literally no proof whatsoever anywhere.
Yeah, like they didn't. I don't think they got
dev team
DMCA'd.
just got tired.
Yeah, I think they just didn't. They were like, they kind of like felt the pressure or whatever. Like, if they continued, they might like be forced to stop anyways. So.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But I mean, people still played it after that. Like. And you probably heard about Product Plus, like, so like, there's still
cobbled
stuff
together
happening.
Code that was like left over.
Yeah, there's this kind of like a continuation sort of thing, but not in the same like, not as big of a project,
Doesn't have like the same like polish and.
Yeah, I kind of got out of it around that time though of Product Plus. Like I think Product Plus is like brand new, but
same.
Yeah, I mean,
just didn't see a point.
I really like platform fighters though. I don't play them as much, but like, man, like, there's a game called Slap City from Vidosity. Like, that game came out too late. Like, I would have loved that game when I was in high school because it's like, it's so well designed. Like, I swear those developers are like genius. They like thought of everything with like how it controls and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
Yeah.
I feel real bad for them. Weren't they also the guys who did Nick All-Star Brawl?
Yeah, and they had some really good ideas with that game. I assume they just didn't have like funding or something.
I really think they just didn't have the funding to bring it
Yeah.
out.
I doubt Nickelodeon is probably just like they didn't want to put all their marbles in like the game that could fail or whatever. But
Yeah.
The director and like the head dev would talk about constantly how Nickelodeon wasn't giving them any money, and so they couldn't even put like voices on the characters until much later.
Right.
They finally had some money from the game selling. Like, oof.
The game felt so awkward without voice acting. I'm not gonna lie.
And then they pushed the game out super fast too.
Yeah.
So like they didn't have much turnaround time, and
people were always like
mistakes.
figuring out the broken stuff. There's like multiple infinite that they had to patch out.
ladder combos, you name it. You just
I love how
instantly
honest
die.
they were about that. They're like, yes, this is a game that's gonna come out with a lot of jank shit, and we're gonna work on it. Like they're really trying to be upfront about the fact that like that's how fighting game works. That's how fighting game works. Like
Yeah.
the jank shit comes out, we patch it later. Like we don't
The
know
game's
about
dead
it.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really hear too much about. I assume people are still playing it, but like I know even when people were like preemptively calling it dead, there was like tournaments every single day online.
Yeah.
Like the activity of that game was just crazy. Like literally every day there was net play tournaments. It was insane.
Well, people wanted to love the game. I wanted to love the game, but it just kind of wasn't in the cards, unfortunately, because the support for it just boom and gone. That was it.
Yeah.
Which stinks because it's like, I think if it had like another year or two more polish, I think it would have been like, a much bigger game because it had the like 1v1 that Multiverses didn't have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Multiverse is not designed as a 1v1
The big
game.
problem was Multiverses though, because it showed like all the holes in the Nickelodeon fighter. It's like, oh, we got full voice acting.
What was the biggest
They were
hole?
taking
Money?
shots with like that introduction of the game.
Well,
like
their net code wasn't very good. Their roster wasn't very big, actually.
I thought the
No
net code
voice
was terrible.
acting. The music was just generic music. Like they couldn't even get like the rights to like most theme songs and stuff like
That's
that.
my point. Like 90% of the problem was the money that they just didn't have. So
I do like some of the music they had though. Like I think the composer was pretty good, but there's just like a couple songs that like really tick people off, like the Glove World song, for example. Like everyone hated that song.
I mean, it's like you want to go into the Cat Dog stage and just hear the Cat Dog theme. I feel like.
Oh
you know?
yeah,
Like,
nostalgia is a huge factor.
Yeah, no.
Exactly.
That was
true.
a jam.
Just beating people up to the Cat Dog theme. Let's go.
So just to stay like a little bit on topic now.
Oh yeah,
So
sorry.
do you guys feel like
Topic's overrated.
like like I said, the question was who are you and what got you into the FGC? So you're saying kind of more platform fighters. That's what brought you in here, and like what do you feel like? Who do you feel like you represent in the FGC? Because like I kind of see you as this sort of this representative of Super Dragon Ball Z to me, at least. Especially like in terms of like other creators and things sort of coming to you for help, or in general, if someone wants to get into it, it feels like you're there, right? Like you're sort of like this Batman of this of this niche game that you're kind of trying to keep alive.
Dragon Ball Z,
Yeah,
that's kind of an obscure game there too.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you call it? As I was getting out, I was getting out of like platform fighters. I think like one of the last few PM locals I went to, I met this guy who was playing like Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and he had those fight sticks with him. So I just sat down and played with him. And then like eventually I was like talking to him more, and we're still like we're actually like good friends now. because like he got me into traditional fighters, and like he assembled my first fight stick and stuff. So like he got me interested in like arcade hardware and all that stuff. It's funny because like now he's like not even playing that much traditional fighters. He's like obsessed with Beatmania, if you guys are familiar with that game. Like he's like obsessed with like arcade rhythm games.
Rhythm games have a
odd change.
There's a lot of crossover because it's like both arcade, you know. But yeah, so
I guess so.
I was playing traditional fighters, and I would play like whatever. Like I just at that time I didn't really talk to anyone in like the scene that much, like the fighting game scene that much, and so I just like play these games with my friends and we try out different fighting games. But I saw a video from like Kabe DBZ on his channel. Like it was just like a compilation video, so like all these funny moments in SDBZ, and so like I became really interested in the game. And around 2019, I was like starting to like try to learn more, but the resources online were just like not very reliable or like really outdated. So I would just like, if I wanted to learn anything, I would just go on Twitter and like ask some of the Japanese players about how stuff works in the game. And I was like, man, this game is like super sick. And I see like all these people, like all these like comments like over the years, like, well, I'll like look at the comments, just like find any information on like videos and stuff to see like if people were talking about it. And like it sounded like there was a lot of people who like were really interested in the game but just didn't have anyone to play with or stuff like that. So it's like I was like, if it's this hard to like learn anything about the game, I just gotta like make this Discord server for it and just make like, because people need like somewhere to like talk about the game and stuff. So yeah, that's how I started like the server, and I just try to like help people get into it. I'm gonna try to like work more on documentation too. Like recently, this guy Sleep Mode, he made some big changes to there was a super combo page. It was called SRK before, or SRK. Yeah. And there was a page for SDBZ on there, and it was really, you know, like there's not very much information about it. So he like kind of the Sleep Mode kind of revamped the layout of it. So now it's like we just gotta fill in the information. And I mean, for now I've just been kind of helping people out like personally. Like I'll just tell them, oh, we can get on like the voice channel, I'll just help you set up the net play really quick or whatever, like tell you about the game. But I think a lot of times people just want to like do that stuff on their own.
Oh, that's awesome. Like the fact that you guys offer that service to the community.
Oh yeah, I just, you know, I try to make myself available because I mean, it's also like, I think some people just like have it, like if you're actually like talking to someone, it like makes it easier for certain people. So, but I know other people just want to just like, you know, read up on it and then do it themselves. So I gotta work on that part, just filling in the wiki. So
so I suppose okay, so I kind of feel like you're definitely you're you know, the Superman of Super Dragon Ball Z. If someone needs you, man, you're there. This is kind of the impression I'm getting right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
Like I very much remember, I can add to this and say that I think I met you through streaming Super Dragon Ball Z. I believe I was streaming it, and that's how like I met you. I was just streaming it, and you're like, "Oh, yo,
yeah,
some person is streaming this game. They need me."
I follow the category on Twitch.
He saw the signal. He came. So with that, sort of kind of delving a little bit deeper into, you know, being part of the Super Dragon Ball Z community. What's it kind of like being a TO? I don't believe that's the correct term, right? And working with like major tournaments like Combo Breaker and Evo for being like the tournament runner of Super Dragon Ball Z. Yeah.
So I guess like the way stuff works with those events is like, I don't know if many people realize, like, so you'll see like oftentimes you'll see like before these events happen, they'll like post a lineup or whatever of the games. Usually with these side tournaments, those are all like the ones that are like smaller games. Those are all games that are like, I mean, in most cases, people who are into these games like will apply to run these games. So they'll like work with the event to be able to make that happen. And that just happens when, you know, someone is like interested in doing it. So like with Vortex Gallery at Evo, I applied to run it with them. So I would like attend their meetings, and I mean, in my case, like it's a PS2 game, so I brought my setups there and we used them for the bracket. But I think like with some modern games, like if you're like running on a PS4, the staff there might actually be able to cover you on that. So some games are potentially like easier to set up. But I think with the older games, you kind of have to rely more on like your own hardware. Like
bring your own CRT.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's another thing. They don't usually like it might depend. Like sometimes the staff get us some CRTs out, but like I didn't even want to like have to rely on that. So I've been using scalers like for getting this games on the LCD screens. So like because they always have like LCDs like in those venues, so it's easier that way, you know.
Makes sense.
For sure.
Yeah. Another thing is like about like what I'm trying to do is also just like I try to keep in contact with like other people who are running like PS2 stuff or like just niche games in general. Because like whenever I hear about like some advancements in like the retro scene, like with PS2 stuff, I always like send that stuff to like people who are in the sort of related communities, like, you know, like Fate Unlimited Codes or like Kineko Man Muscle Grand Prix 2 or like the Budokai guys, like game, Budokai 3 and all those. Yeah, I just like try to stay in contact with those guys just because I feel like it's better that everyone's on the same page, you know.
Man, I would love to see, like, I don't know how, like, if I was in the wild, right, and I just happened to see, I don't know, if I was at a tournament or something, whatever, I went anywhere and I saw somebody playing Kineko Man Muscle Grand Prix 2 or whatever it may be on the PS2, I would flip out. Like, I think it'd be so cool to see something like that, because it's just like you'd never expect it, you know. But games like that, you know, or you know, stuff like you don't expect, like the Budokai or like Super Dragon Ball Z, and it's like automatically you have like a connection with those people. You're like, oh yeah, you know, oh they play, you know, they play Super Dragon Ball Z, they play Kineko, they get me, I get that person, we're friends now.
Just another underground game.
Where the
Like
hyperdimension
they play
gamers
their own niche game, so they get it, you know.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If I could, I would go to like every event I could, but. That's why I try to like try to get people involved like in other areas too. Like there's a guy I think his tag is Matthias Wolfbeck, or he runs this thing called like Wolf TV. And he's based in France, so he's been bringing SDBZ to his locals over there. So like, just having like sort of this stuff going on in different areas, because I guess it's just I don't know how to say it. It's just good to be able to support like communities no matter where they are, you know.
Grow the scene wherever, you know what I mean? I think that's the beautiful thing about kind of the grassroots nature of the fighting game community, is anywhere someone is playing your game, like language barrier doesn't matter, like we can both still play the game, so
we can just pop up,
throw some sets, you know.
Yeah, it's like
I
playing
definitely
music.
want to go to Japan eventually, because like that's where the game has had the most competitive history, and they're still playing. And it would be like really interesting to be able to go there and play with those players who've been on this game for so long, you know.
Matt has a great question about that.
So might as well just ask that question next. So like, you know, like you said, it really seems like Super Dragon Ball Z like really lives on in the arcades. And I was actually wondering, what do you think makes Japanese arcade culture so special? Because in the States, we really don't have that anymore, unless in like you're like in a very specific spot. You know what I mean? And even then, like fighting game players are rare. You know.
I think COVID already buried it, and it was already on its way down. But yeah, I mean, like, you know, NLBC is different now. I mean, I don't even think it technically exists in the same way. WNF is different now. Like. U.S. arcade scene's hurting, and I mean, like, what do you think keeps the Japanese scene going?
Yeah.
Well, it's more dense over there. I think the most comparable thing in the U.S. would be probably New York, right? Because it's so easy to get around, like, to different venues. It's all like walking distance or just hop on the train or whatever. And I think I believe it's kind of similar like that in Japan. And that might be why the arcade scene is still going over there. And that's also why they still play on the arcade version of SDBZ, is because it's just more accessible, like to have a public place where you could just meet up and play. So yeah, I mean, I've never lived in an area like that, but it sounds like it's like a really good thing to have for like local communities, you know.
And you know, I was thinking about this too, and to kind of add to that, and I was thinking that having an arcade is a great way to keep people involved in a game, to where you don't need a Discord, because you can say, look, here's the game, here's how to play it, and anybody just walking by can find it, you know. It's not like, you know, you have to convince anybody to play it, or someone just can, you know what I mean? I feel like it's sort of, it can be a more welcoming atmosphere, whereas like when you just find a certain game, like if the first time I played Super Dragon Ball Z, I'm like, I didn't really think too much of it. I didn't really think there was even, you know, I didn't think there was depth or anything like that. And I've made this mistake multiple times. But you know, if I was in an arcade, I could see somebody play it. I could see them do those cool Android 16 combos, and I could see them do, you know, Goku's Spirit Bomb into another Spirit Bomb, which is wild. You know, just stuff like that. And so I always think that there's sort of like that sort of unique aspect to things, and you know, probably a really welcoming atmosphere.
So I mean, I feel like that arcades, like just like fighting game like locals, share some similarities, but I think the difference is that like usually, like, so with arcades, yeah, people just like walk in because it's like public or whatever, but it's harder to like get that to happen with locals. I think a lot of times like people might like walk by and they see it, but like you only meet there like once a week or whatever. So like, and then people don't realize it's like a public thing. Like they could just walk in and start like hanging out and playing, but I think people often think it's just like some like private meeting or whatever.
I mean,
so it's hard to like get people to like introduce people to, like random people that way, you know.
The reason why I say that too is because I don't have a local where I'm at. Like there was a local, but pretty much you know, COVID killed that off. And the place that had the locals is now basically just strictly pinball. And look, not that I you know, hate pinball, but come on, man. Like you're gonna play pinball or fighting games? Come on, man. Let's be real. Okay.
What do you mean competitive pinball? Hello?
Why not both?
Sure, why not both? But still,
don't get rid of the fighting games. Come on.
yeah. I mean, they had the pinball machines there, but then they like opened up a new location and there were like no arcade cabs there. It's literally just all pinball. And it was like, oh well, I guess I'm never going there again, and it made me real sad inside. But there is.
It sucks when they take away stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they had like a Tekken 5 cab, and I'm like, oh, sick. Tekken 5. I think I don't know if it was a DR cab. I don't think it was, but It was a Tekken 5 cab either way. And it was like, I would go there and I would literally I was so happy to play single player Tekken 5 on an arcade cabinet. I was like, this is amazing. Right? But now they don't have any of that. And I guess like all of those locals are kind of gone, and I didn't know where to find those people. So, you know, I mean, I've even thought about just like starting up locals, but it's like out of my house, like out of this room. I don't like, seems kind of small, man, right? This is my kitchen, right? So
gamers will game.
Yeah.
LAN parties.
Maybe find a nice bathroom.
Yeah, so we could be multiple players.
You can only play Melty though.
Absolutely.
No, it's kind of, again, you know, and I'm hoping it kind of circles back. Like, I don't know, maybe in the future when there's like VR, there'll be VR arcades and we can kind of bring that feel back. But yeah, I mean, it is kind of like a weird, different feeling of like, you know, playing something online or playing something remote where like people have to kind of seek stuff out versus like, you know, you just being in an arcade, you walk along, you see someone do a cool combo from over the shoulder and be like, okay, that's it, I have to play this game. You know what I mean? It's like the difference between like, you know, looking for food on like Grubhub or like walking down the street and smelling something good. You know,
like a food vendor, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's that different like food put in front of you that's awesome versus like I have to figure out what's awesome without even looking at it. Probably.
Yeah, I'm gonna try shawarma for the first time. I don't know.
Right. Thank you, Avenger.
Okay, so I guess my next question would be, what do you think makes Super Dragon Ball Z a unique game? And sort of, what are some other fighters you think are unique and people should be playing?
Yeah, like why did you pick that over the Budokai or the Tenkaichi too? Like, I mean,
sure.
When I was like looking into the game, there was like several things that kind of like made me hesitant about whether to continue. Like from a very surface level, like just looking at it, like, so first of all, like I'm really into traditional fighters, and so when I saw there's like a Dragon Ball Z fighting game on the PS2 that already had a an impression, like, because all I knew was there's Budokai and Tenkaichi, and those aren't traditional fighters really. And so I was like, okay, and I started looking at it, I was like, oh, this is a traditional fighter, like you can cancel your normals with your specials and stuff like that, and then they have like the motions and all that. But then another thing was like, man, custom moves, like that doesn't have a very good history in fighting games either. Like, it's like I think of like Smash 4 and like Soul Calibur 6 when it was like first come out. There's like, or like Tekken or Street Fighter Cross Tekken or whatever, like, or Tekken Revolution, all those games, like customization in a fighting game. Oh no! But then I started looking into it more, and it's just like that stuff wasn't very like intrusive or whatever. Like it just makes the game cooler, honestly. Because it kind of like the more I started looking at it, the more it kind of seemed more like the groove system in like CVS2 or like assists and like Marvel, like how they kind of had different functions. Like you have the DP or like the stuff like that, and so you can come up with like different skill combinations that have like synergy, and you only have like a limited number of skills. Like it's not like something crazy where you have like, I don't know, so many variables. It's not like that.
My first experience with custom moves is like MK Armageddon, so that was that kind of turned me off the idea for a little while.
Yeah. And another thing was that on top of that, or behind EXP, you had to get EXP to get the moves each time. Like you had to fill your bar for one move, like one skill to get. And so I was like, man, this is really tough. Like trying to sell me on this game, you know. But eventually we did like at that time there were no infinite EXP cheats, but then they were developed, so that wasn't even an issue anymore. But yeah, I mean, the more I started learning about it, the more I got interested in it. Like I think the really cool thing about it is like it's a traditional fighter, made by like Arika and Craftsmeister. So those people have like a long history in like fighting game development. And then so like the mechanics work really well, but then it's like very much a hybrid. Like it's in 3D. Your environments are like, they're not just flat, they're destructible, and like they have like pillars and stuff you could stand on. And then the big thing is like you can fly, and flying is like the same state as standing, which is very unique in a fighting game like this. Like you could do your standing normals like above or below the opponent. Like it just opens up some things in a really interesting way. And also the way it works with like guarding and stuff, like the action gauge. It's like, because there's no highs or lows, so you have to have another way to open up the opponent, right? So first of all, like when you press guard, you face the opponent, but you don't turn around automatically if they move. So you can get crossed up, like they can hit you from behind. And then also, when you're flying, it drains your action gauge. When it goes to 0, you are forced to fall and you can't guard until you hit the ground. So if you set something up to where against a flying opponent, if they are draining their action gauge and you like put them in block stun or hit stun, and you can like wait till the stun is over, then they're forced to fall when they get to 0. So like you can set up an unblockable. So you have really cool stuff like that requires like a lot of thought. So that stuff makes the game like really interesting to me. And I guess as far as like other games, I mean, I could think of some that are kind of out there, like have you ever heard of like you know the company the developer Treasure?
Yes.
Yeah, so they have a couple fighting games, and their approach was pretty different too. I haven't like really like focused on these games at all, but they just seemed really interesting to me. They had their initial one was on the Mega Drive, only in Japan. I think I don't know if it was an official release, but I've seen a Portuguese version, like in Brazil. They call it like Sunset Fighter or something. But yeah, it's a Yu Yu Hakusho game.
Is that the 8-player one? Or like the 4-player one? Yeah, it's like a 4-player Yu Yu Hakusho game. Isn't it like only in prototype or something?
What'd you say?
Isn't it only like a prototype?
No, it's not a prototype. I think it had an official release.
Okay, yeah, I've been wanting to try that for a long time. I haven't gotten around to it.
Dark Tournament.
From what I've seen, they design their games like it's like a lot of things feel like a traditional fighter, but like you can turn around and there's like planes, so it's like a beat 'em up almost, like a beat 'em up style traditional fighter. It's really weird, but like
I have to check that out.
It looks so cool. And also like on top of that, they have like the 2v2 modes and stuff. Like there's some really interesting stuff there. And also they ended up making a Bleach game in a similar style on the DS. But like
sorry. Is the Mega Drive the same thing as the Genesis? Just help me out.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. If you say Mega Drive, he means Genesis. And Mega Drive was the name for the Sega Genesis in Japan and Europe, I believe.
Got it.
Yeah, but this game was only in Japan, though.
Got it.
But yeah, that game is really cool, and it's very niche. Like, I don't know if there's like very many players. I mean, I'm not really involved with the scene at all, but like, I haven't seen. I can think of a few players, but like, I don't know. It's kind of like in a similar state with. Well, STBZ has had some history, but like in the US at least, it kind of reminds me of like how STBZ is in the US, because we only have a couple active players. Hasn't grown that much, but
okay.
That's a really interesting game though.
Do you think a game like that, or even Super DBC, would ever end up on like a Fightcade? Like, do you think a Fightcade would bring more to it?
Yeah, I mean, considering we just had, Duck Station get rollback with all of those like really great, and weird PS1 fighting games. I feel like
emphasis on weird.
The PS1 is very underrated it's underrated seems like a strange term, but PS1 has a lot of great fighting games, and particularly really strange ass experimental fighting games that are just trapped on it. And I love that about the PS1. Tobal 2, a bunch of other games.
Stuff that's out there.
Yeah, a lot of
very out there.
Yeah.
I think most of it was just people experimenting with the 3D for the first time, like 3D fighters. Yeah, the genre, and like even Capcom was like very much trying some weird stuff for their 3D games. But it also, at the time too, we got some really great stuff like Rival Schools, which is kind of unfortunately trapped on the PS1.
Street Fighter EXs, right?
Yeah, the EXs, 1 and 2 were on there, 3 was on the PS2. But with that, do you think that we'll be getting PS2 rollback eventually, and then kind of breathe new life into Super Dragon Ball Z? I don't know. I mean, anything's possible, but I can't imagine rollback for PS2 happening anytime soon. As far as the rollback, elevating the scene or whatever, making it bigger, more people involved. I think it just depends on how much you try to push these games, because with the Yu Yu Hakusho game, I mean, it's had rollback for a while on Fightcade, but it's still a pretty small scene, and even the Rumblefish 2, if you're familiar with Rumblefish 2, it's a Thomas Wave game originally. That game got rollback a while back on Fightcade, and then it even had a Steam port, which a modern port, which it kind of flopped, but they ended up fixing that port recently. But it's still a pretty small game. I think I remember, a lot of people were complaining about that port and how they had they had messed it up and how it didn't come out that well. And that's why I didn't buy the game, is because I was like, oh, it's messed up on launch. Okay, well then I guess I'm not buying this, unfortunately. And I was funny though, interested. No, the Rumblefish. Rumblefish had an HD remake like Breaker's Revenge. Sort of. Anyway, what were you saying? The funny thing about that was the port failed initially, at least. So the people who were talking about were saying just play on Fightcade instead. And so that port did end up getting more people to play the game on Fightcade. It was really funny how that worked out.
A Barbra Streisand effect, where it's just if this new thing is bad, let's do the old thing.
Yeah. If you weren't playing the old game, I mean, we'll just remind you again, go play the old one on Fightcade.
This one looks playable.
What do you call it? But they did end up fixing the issues. I mean, they should have had these things initially, because that. Yes. I think. Because the port is I think it's fine now, as far as I know. I don't have it myself, so I couldn't really look into it that much. I just played on Fightcade, so I mean, I don't know if the port's fine or not. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Anyway. Yeah. I mean, it's just you gotta have stuff, because it leaves a bad impression, I think. So if it's gonna be hard to convince people, Well, it's when you find out the Breakers collection came out. It's how's the online? Oh, it's not that great. Then it's okay, well, I guess I'm not buying it then. And then it's people also could just play it on Fightcade as well, where the online's fine. And again, it's if you're gonna release a game that people could play for free with better online, you're really hurting your own cause. Yeah. And
back in the oven to let it cook for a little bit.
Yeah, just let it cook. Yeah. And
I think they were sort of out of touch. There was some on reviews, one of the developers was replying to people, and the replies were so bad. There was stuff what do you call it? There's this guy saying how he was complaining about how you couldn't like bind your controls on keyboard, and the reply to it was like, well, he wanted to stick with the original 5-button layout, and it didn't really like make any sense. That he wasn't really addressing what the issue was, and also on top of that, the game has macros. Like they put in macros into the game, so it's not even the original 5-game layout. There's like macros that you can't unbind.
Oh, really?
That's
So he's like making no sense. And then I think even in that message, he said something so funny. Like I think it was just broken English, but like he said something like "look forward to like not this feature" or something. Like it was such a strange interaction. Like there's also messages about like the big issue to me was like the game, they made it widescreen, which is fine, but they didn't account for the walls like from going from 4x3 to 16x9. They extended them, so some combos don't work, like the mid-screen wall bounces. That was the big issue. They changed the gameplay. And so there's a reply on it. It was like, we wanted to extend the viewing screen for like, your pleasure or whatever like that. So he's like, didn't address that it actually changed the gameplay.
How do you mess them up like that?
Yeah, that's the thing that they ended up fixing though. It's just really great.
So it is playable now. Like it is. Yeah. And if I remember correctly, I think doesn't Breakers not have like the Breakers collection not have like a practice mode in it either?
Oh, I don't know.
I believe the Breakers collection doesn't have a practice mode, so it's like it's even further of why should I play this if there's no practice mode? Because, like, at the very least, to get a leg up on the the Fightcade version, right? Like, what's a Fightcade version missing? It's missing a practice mode, right?
I think it might even have that now. I think there's a script for training mode.
Yeah. People make like scripts. Like I've seen a Street Fighter Alpha 2 script for a practice mode. For me personally, I don't like to have to set up a script to play a game. I just have the Alpha collection on PS2.
Training mode wasn't a thing up until like what era? Like it was like what era of because like Street Fighter 2 didn't have a training mode, right?
So there were
some games here and there that did, but it was very uncommon until the sort of Taito Type X era. That was like around 2008, I think, or not 2008. It might have been. I think it was around then. But it was pretty uncommon. Like I can only think of like 2 games before that had training mode built in. There's like Dan Kuga. That was like a Taito F3 game. Must have been like in the 90s. And then there was like Akatsuki Blitzkampf, which was like a Naomi game.
So that was already a quality of life feature that we had to wait to get, depending how far you go back in the retro.
So there were plenty of games that had training mode built into it, and even had like, trials built into them as well. Not every game did, and that was actually like a giant, it's a giant
it was the thing. If you wanted the training mode, you had to get the console version.
That's what specifically
that might not be arcade perfect.
Yeah, it might not be arcade perfect, but I mean, once you got to like the PS2 era, it's like you probably have an arcade perfect or near arcade perfect version of the game. Like I'm pretty sure that PS2 version of the Alpha Collection is arcade perfect, but I could be wrong. Obviously you're not playing Alpha 2 Gold, because it's like Alpha 2 Gold it does not feel like Alpha 2. It feels like an easier version of Alpha 2, but I don't know, maybe I'm just, nobody knows what I'm talking about. But either way, when I was learning Alpha 2, I specifically had that Alpha 2 Alpha Collection on the PS2, and it was honestly the best way for me to learn the game. But yeah, I don't know necessarily too if like you're new at a game, if having a non-arcade perfect version of it is really going to hurt you that much. When you really kind of got to play. It like you really kind of got to get the game down first, and then it probably will help you at least make steps in the right direction, opposed to like if you're a high level competitor and you're playing Street Fighter, Third Strike, and you're like, I'm going to play the Dreamcast version. It's like, man, that's a bad version to play, but but how good are you really? Like, does it matter? You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Feel bad for all those people that would play the console version and then go to an arcade and play and not know why any of their combos are not working. Like, I think until the community finally started figuring out the technical side of like, oh, it's just different. You know what I mean? A lot of people were just like, why isn't it working? And still losing like, you know, all their quarters.
I mean, to be fair, the other problem too is you're never going to know if something is arcade perfect or not, whether you talk to somebody who's played that game for hours. You know, it's like, it's hard to find, like, I remember I had to talk to like, Arturo Sanchez about like, hey, is the PS3 version of Marvel vs. Capcom 2 any good? I had to like ask him, because it's like, he's like, well, no, it's emulation. It's like, you don't want to play on that version. The only reason we use like the Dreamcast version as the definitive version is because it's like semi-real hardware to the arcade, because the Naomi and the Sega Dreamcast share the same hardware specs. So they have, and you can play one and go to the other, and there's not a difference, or a big difference, I guess. But yeah, anyway, not to, you know, go too much on a tangent.
I think the big thing was that those ports had good online, or like decent online. So that was the only way people could play online back then. And yeah, I heard they were like pretty good, but there were some like differences that people just had to account for, but they were willing to deal with it, you know.
Yeah, I think that was like when GGPO was like making like Heritage for the Future and Marvel 1 and Origins Collection. Like, those games are all fantastic.
I guess my favorite thing about the modern era is that, like, and I mean just game development in general, is that it's like the feedback, the positive feedback between the community that plays the games and the people making the games has progressed. It's no longer just a game comes out. It came out the way it comes out. You have to like it because it's the only game you're going to get. There will be no more discussion. It's become less of that, and it's become more of a discussion about like what features the community considers most important and what features the game developers can do. And that's cool. I mean, like, I saw a whole discussion about just like day one patches and people complaining about it the other day. And it's like a lot of the gamers that grew up in this age complain about, oh, well, a day one patch like puts the onus on the company not to fix the game. And it's like, you guys don't remember when the game would just come out and that would be
Yo, you ever had to deal with playing Marvel 1 on the PS1, man? Like, I can't even imagine releasing a game that is so different than your arcade version that it's like, it might as well be a different game altogether, right?
Yeah, they would just like release those fighting games on PS1, knowing that the PS1 can't handle those 2D.
Threw that shit out there, man.
There's so many of those PS1 like watered down ports with the 2D games.
Yeah, or like if you had like a character switch, it had to have like a loading screen. It's like, oh no. Anyway, sorry, August.
I'm just saying, but like literally games used to come out and it's just like it was the way it was. Like it was broken. There would be no patch. There would be no update. Especially like from the cartridge era, even from the disc era. You know what I mean? Like it was just that way. Like if you wanted a fixed version of the game and the company made enough money, maybe they would do a second impact. Maybe they would do an upgrade. But for most things, nah.
Third strike, if you will.
Yeah, or a third strike. But no, that was just how it was. And like now the fact that we can get day one patches at all is a huge blessing in terms of like fixing games, making games a better version of themselves, or at least a more player-friendly version of themselves. So, I mean, we've already come a long way. I think we still have a long way to go. I think developers should definitely be more open to conversations with the community about features the community would like. Because, I mean, sometimes if the community is asking for good reasons. Like, these things aren't as good as what they could be, like online features. I mean, some stuff is a little broken or a little different, and it needs to be worked on. But, I mean, the fact that we're at the point where the community has influence on future game development at all is huge. And it's a huge step forward and way bigger than, a lot of the retro games you've played ever. It's way more of an opportunity than a lot of the older games you play ever got.
Yeah.
We've also seen that super recently with like Tekken 8, when we first saw Tekken 8, there was just explosions everywhere. It was a Michael Bay production. And then we got the more recent stuff, and it's like the hit sparks have been minimized. All the feedback was noted.
So yeah, I mean, again, I think this is a good thing. The fact that there's now conversations, because I think a lot of games that never got that chance, that came out and people hated them, even though there was a nugget, there was a diamond there in the rough. Now get to polish that diamond,
Yeah,
a diamond in the turd.
Exactly.
It's in there, man. Your bowels are strong. So, with that, I guess I got a couple more questions for you. So, what is it like to, kind of like be? I think we've kind of talked a little bit about like what's it like to kind of be the go-to guy for Super Dragon Ball Z, and working with sort of bigger YouTubers like Guile Winquote, who came to you for help. Or basically, I just want to put this out there. Anytime I've looked at a Super Dragon Ball Z video, I just want to say I've seen your name in there somewhere. Somewhere in the description, it said, shout out to gpbear for the help. I just want to say I've seen that a couple of times. So I suppose, what is it like working with, sort of these bigger YouTubers?
Well, I guess like, I think sometimes for the ones who are like, they're more, I don't know if perceptive is the right word, but like they kind of like look around to see like, if they're gonna like look into this game, to like look around online to see like information about it and stuff. So that's why I try to like, be everywhere I can online for this game. So like, they know where to go. And so, like, yeah, he, like, Guile Winquote, like, he, let me close the window for a second. Yeah, he reached out to me, because he knew that, like, I was, into this game. I knew, like, I was, like, focusing on it, so I knew a lot of information about it. And so, I mean, I really appreciate how he makes his videos like that. Like, he actually does really good research, including like looking into like talking to people who actively play the game, because when you make these like videos about like when you try to like talk about these games, it's hard to like just do it all by yourself. Like you're gonna miss a lot of details about these games that people who actually play it like already know, and so like or like might be very good details to include. And so, like, when you're introducing it to, like, other people. So, it's good to have that sort of, like, be aware of that stuff. Yeah, I mean, I haven't, like... I sometimes, like, try to reach out to people if I know they're gonna, like, do something related to STBZ, just so I can, like, support them, yeah, I guess... I mean, it's I can't always, like, sometimes, like, these things are kind of like, they work on it privately, so I don't even know what's going to happen, and they'll drop a video, and I'll be there. I'll just, like, say, like, oh, like, whatever I need to say about STBZ, like, oh, we have this community. I'll just, like, let people know still.
Yeah, you just try to be sort of, like, very helpful and sort of, like, informative about, these informations and details that people may not think about when writing a video. Like, let's say they're not necessarily deep in the Super Dragon Ball Z community, right? You're saying like you're kind of the guy that's going to be there to kind of support them in their information, maybe be like, oh yeah, this checks out, but hey, you could add this thing in there, and you're super helpful in those terms. I know, like, recently, maybe a couple of weeks ago, I was like I went out of my way to, like, I think I watched the Vortex Gallery tournament, and I was watching it, and I don't know why I came back to Super Dragon Ball Z, but I was like, oh yeah, how do I learn how to do flight cancels? And like, you're like, here's how to do flight cancels. You can do it on pad and you can do it on stick. And then he gave me like 2 videos on how to do it. And then you kind of recommended me like, oh yeah, you can use these macros. I don't know if they'd be called macros, right? This button mapping.
Yeah, they're macros. It's like the button that presses 2 buttons for you, you know? That's like a macro.
Yeah.
Is that what or is a macro like a sequence of button, like inputs?
I think a sequence of buttons.
Yeah, I think it's like so like I think people can like map a button to do like a wave, like an electric wind god fist or something. Like
no, yeah. It's just it's like a button. There's like buttons that press multiple buttons at the same time. Like that's what it is. Like a lot of games
might be
that.
a macro actually though. I think
people call it macros, but like there's something that actually like it's not the same thing as like the other kind of macro that you script on the computer. It's not that macro.
It's not dirty cheaters.
Fighting game players like to call multi-button presses just macros. Like, oh yeah, I've macroed, you know, light punch and heavy punch.
But it's really just like a dual input.
Dual input. Yeah. They added that for the PS2 version, which is a great thing to do because like pressing like if you were to only use the face buttons with just your thumb, you know, it's like it's a pain in the ass, like pressing triangle and cross at the same time or whatever. So
impossible.
And I don't know, I mean I wish you guys could see it and I can show it to you guys, but that GP Bear sent me this video of how to do a flight cancel, and he was like using his thumb, like he was like literally flicking like 2 buttons with his thumb and like you know inputting a flight. It was insane. Yeah, he's like flicking it like from side to side because you know you gotta to input a flight cancel you have to like press like in Tekken terms it's like 4-3-4, but he's like using his thumb to like sweep 4-3-4, and then he's pressing 4-3-4-1, 4-3-4-1. But he's using his thumb to do it. I don't know. It's kind of wild.
Makes my thumb hurt just thinking about it.
It does, yeah.
There's some techniques you can use with your hands that make things like way faster.
He's gonna have some bad arthritis, but that's okay. It's all worth it in the end, right?
Yeah. What do I do with old gamer hands? How can I just kind of like do a little of this?
No.
We're gonna get you like that video with Broly players where like they have like a monkey with like a tube in his mouth and he's like blowing. And then he's like doing the combos.
Seriously though, I think that's one of the reasons why people have been pushing hitbox so hard is that it's a lot easier on a lot of people's wrists and hands and fingers.
Oh no, this is a right hand thing. This isn't a left hand thing. This is a right hand like using your thumb to flip the buttons. Anyway,
STBZ doesn't have very many crazy joystick inputs. It's mostly the sequence of button presses that you're able to do. It's like you can do some pretty wild stuff.
But like, I think that's
SDBZ have like the star inputs and stuff.
Oh, it did have a star, yeah.
Yeah, there is that. Yeah. So about
that's some wonderful stuff right there.
So these are like regular joystick, like fighting game, like what do you call it? Special commands. So you can like long cut that type of stuff. Like if you're familiar with the SNK games, like the pretzel motions and stuff.
Yeah.
Like those things, like you can long cut them. Like so with the star motion.
When you say long cut, what does that mean?
Right. As opposed to shortcut, you're making the motion technically longer, like more like directions, but you're making the like the way you input it is like easier. Like so you can use joystick like rotations instead of like going to like each point of the star. Like so what do you call it?
SPD?
If you're familiar with number pad, the notation for the star would be 4 6 1 8 3 4 6. That's like going all the way across every single time. It's like really a pain in the ass to do. But you could just do 4 6 like back forward and do full circle, so it's like 6 3 2 1 4 7 8 9 6, and then half circle back, so it's like 3 2 1 4 and then forward 6. So you're just doing.
That's still pretty ridiculous.
That sounds like
it's still a pain in the ass, but like it's way easier than the star. Trust me.
That sounds like Guile's super with like a back forward in there.
So.
Modern fighting gamers will never know the struggle.
They'll never know.
Forward, full circle, half circle, back forward.
You see people complaining about like quarter circle forward. You're like, man, you don't even know. You don't even know.
You gotta do pretzel motions. What's wrong with you?
There is a in Arcana Heart. There's a pentagram command but that one is
Yes.
not a regular fighting game. That's not a regular like motion command. That one actually requires you to go back to neutral every time. So you have to go like each direction. You know,
that's heinous.
That sounds nuts.
Yeah, that
My
seems
wrist hurts.
needlessly complicated.
That was the real star motion.
Yeah.
Star motion all along.
Proximity star motion. Jesus Christ.
All right, so
The arthritis motion.
if you were going to make a sequel to Super Dragon Ball Z, what would you add or change to make it a premier fighting game? Like Street Fighter, maybe like Tekken. Like Super Dragon Ball Z 2.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, there's a lot of quality of life stuff I would do. Like, if there could be like an easier way to like get the skills, like for people who are running like locals or whatever, like if they would need to like set some skills up, like it would be nice to not grind EXP if you didn't want to. Or what do you call it?
That's how you have to get the skills? There's not like
if you're not using cheats.
Code? Yeah.
If you're not, yeah. I mean, when I say cheats, we're not using something in the game. We're using external cheats.
Oh shit! Like game.
So it's not
sharking.
Yeah, it's like
or like save.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. What do you call it? Yeah, there's like a cheat file you can use to just make the infinite EXP.
Yeah.
There's no like button sequence in the game that like does it for you.
That's
right.
dumb.
So like if there was a button sequence in the game, that would be a good idea. Like just for people who don't want to grind EXP. Another thing is like oftentimes I see people complain about like, oh, the roster's too small, but I mean, I guess I kind of like I could agree with that, but like something that's not really considered is that each character has their own skill tree, and so like there's a lot of stuff you can like come up with just like these like a single character. Like for example, I have 3 different cells on my like memory card, and they all have different skills like that serve different purposes. So there's a lot more to characters than a lot of people realize at first.
Mm-hmm.
But I would add more characters just because, you know, it's a game that's been out for a long time.
Get the Xenoverse treatment. Just get a DLC every year.
Calm down.
Yeah, that'll be something. How long has that game been around for? It's like
just wait, no, you talking about Xenoverse 2?
Xenoverse 2.
Yeah.
It came out in like 2016, so it's
been a bit.
Almost as old as Tekken. Tekken 7.
Yeah, it's
It
been like
just got
7
no
years.
DLC like last week, bro.
Yeah, it's absurd. It's probably like it's insane how
It's like free updates.
supported.
It's
they're all
crazy.
they're all free.
It's like a year and a few months older than, or younger, I guess, than Tekken.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if it needs to have like I don't think it needs to have like a fighter size roster. It doesn't have to be that big. Like, it's not a tag game or anything, so it's like, and you have the skill
I'm hearing
trees
like
too.
a Tenkaichi 3 size roster, right?
Oh man.
How about a Gohan that's cool, like Mystic Gohan?
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day. Like,
Gohan kind of sucks.
Gohan Blanco?
Teen Gohan in SDBZ is the worst character in the game. But there is, in the PS2 version, they added Ultimate Gohan, and he's actually a really good character. He's really interesting too. Like, he has 2 swords they can switch between during the match, and they have like different properties. So he's a really cool character. But I was thinking
swords.
Yeah, no, it's Gohan
he
training
has
with
the
the Z
Piccolo
sword.
the training sword with Piccolo, you know, and the Z sword.
Okay.
So like the training sword, what it does is it treats all your opponents like no matter what, and they're treated as a lightweight. So you like launch them super high with the sword. And then it does less damage than the Z sword, but it makes your movement faster. But then the Z sword has longer range and like destroys like key attack projectiles. You can like slash through them. and it does more damage and makes you slower. So
That's wild.
it's some interesting stuff.
Who was like, all right, we're gonna give him the Piccolo training sword and the Z sword for Ultimate Gohan.
I always love it when game developers are like, make our own fanfic character in the game.
I mean, did you see Mecha Frieza? He has like bombs and missiles and grenade launchers and stuff in this game.
Steal it from the Mecha Akuma book, bro.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Another thing is that like as opposed to Frieza, he actually like calls out like the attacks, like even the ones that he shares with Frieza. He says the name of the attack when he does it. And I have a feeling that's kind of like a reference to like Doctrine Dark, because like that's another game that Arika worked on, like Street Fighter EX, like. He's like explosive or dark wire or whatever.
Yeah.
But like Frieza's like Frieza Cutter. Like he's like actually saying that stuff. Like Death Ball, DX.
Gotta announce the move for maximum coolness, you know?
Yeah.
Gotta animate it up, the anime fighter.
Explosive.
But what these the characters that they added to the PS2 version, you'll notice that all of them except for Majin Buu are like clone characters, kind of. What do you call it? So they share a lot of moves from them, but of course they have their own original attacks too, and then their skill trees are different. So like there's different stuff you can do with them. So it's like, I don't know. It's kind of like, I personally like clones, but then like these clones are even more interesting than like, I don't know, that I feel like the clones are a lot of times. Like, at least from what I've seen, usually they end up just changing properties of like attacks and that's it. But like these ones actually straight up have different moves too. But then like they're like half and half a lot of times.
Kind of like comparing Roy and Marth and Melee.
The long range sword versus the like one hit kill sword. But yeah, like
Melee.
Would you change any of the game mechanics, or are there any of like those things that you would overhaul or change or add or make different?
Bug fixes, yeah. Like there's a what do you call it? Well, from the arcade version to the PS2 version, they actually did fix some bugs. Like I think there's something Goku could do on the arcade version. I've never seen it myself, but I heard about it from the Japanese players. Like they never do it because they don't want to crash the game. But
crash the game.
Yeah, like apparently, like after the KO, so you can use your infinite gauge. You can use your super gauge infinitely after a KO happens. So like you could do like Spirit Bomb and super cancel it with like Super Saiyan, then do Spirit Bomb again, or like something and like crash the game. So they don't have that anymore in the PS2 version.
And this is why you have to pay your quality testers, folks.
Yeah, they don't.
Isn't that just a flex? You beat someone and then you crash their game.
Yeah. Dude, there's like another one with Cell where he would like freeze the opponent or some shit. It was like kind of weird. And then there's some bugs that are in both versions. And then there's a bug that's like only in the PS2 version where you could teleport outside of bounds with Frieza. I would fix like any of those bugs, I guess. I mean, they're not a huge issue, honestly. Like, with the nature of the game, it's kind of hard to make some of that stuff happen because of how the position of the stage works. It's like, I guess the reason why is because both players have an influence on where you move in the stage. So it's very hard to like actually deliberately do that stuff, unless if you've like, I don't know,
worked with the other player to do it on purpose.
Yeah. And it still like happens like every once in a while, but you know, it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, I would change those. And then another thing is so there's a universal infinite.
Ew.
But only Piccolo can't do it. And the thing about that infinite is like it's very hard to do. So the Kabe, he's the best at doing that infinite, and like other players have never really focused on it because it's such a difficult thing to do. Like, it's just the reason why it's difficult is not so much the timing of it, it's the button sequences, like we were talking about earlier with that fly cancel thing. Doing the like jump and then fly cancel attack, like that sequence of buttons is very hard. But I imagine that like maybe if Kabe is like pretty much mastered it, I imagine that like if more people start playing it, like there's some like lab monsters out there like that are really good at like execution and stuff. I can imagine it maybe being a problem, and so I think the way to address it would be like if you were to so you could just maybe standing hit stun, adjust it so that like during the combo as it gets longer, have them get pushed back more, because then they wouldn't be able to be in the range of your attack. And there actually is a similar mechanic in the game already for juggles. The way that the juggle system, like the combo system works, is that like as the combo number goes up, the opponent gets heavier and they get launched further away from you horizontally. But that only applies to like the airborne hit stun, like in the juggles. So they could have something similar in the standing hit stun, and that I think addressed it pretty easily.
Another like kind of last follow-up question, like do you still watch like modern DBZ, like DBZ Super? Like is there any character that you'd want to be like, okay, this character absolutely needs to be in the game? Like is it like Hit? Is it like New Brawly? Is it like who would you want from like
he just stares at people and they die?
I mean, I haven't watched Super other than the movies, but I know that like there are, I mean, I get characters like that I would think of adding. Like first of all, there's already moves like that you can get on your characters for Wolf-Fang Fist and Flame Pillar, Yamcha and Snappa. So like I think those would be like what do you call it? That would just make sense to add those characters in. And then as far as Super goes, I mean, I know that the new Broly is like a really popular character. So that I feel like that would make sense.
Not evil Broly.
Not evil
Broly. They made him into a character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if we made Broly good?
He was just a ball of rage.
You sound like a YouTuber.
Yeah.
Making those what if videos. Boy, there's a lot of those. There's a lot of like. Anyway, not to like get sidetracked, but boy, people make a lot of like, what if Broly was good? And then that's they're insanely
what if
popular.
Gohan beat the androids in the future?
Yeah, they probably watched those videos before they made them.
People love what if videos, man, and
theory crafting for DBZ saying it so.
I love them, dude.
So yeah, well, like there's a lot of cool new characters I think would translate kind of well in some cool ways.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I thought Hit's time stop is always a sweet mechanic. For anything.
No, get out of here! Time stops in any fighting game is just super AIDS.
Hell yeah!
Whoa.
SDBZ, it like represents original Dragon Ball pretty well, but I mean, I wouldn't mind. I would love to see more original Dragon Ball characters. Like they already have Chi-Chi and King Piccolo, and like if you haven't seen Chi-Chi, she like uses like the Bancho fan and Nimbus and the cutter thing on her head and like the power pole. She like uses all that stuff. And she's in the outfit she wore during the the tournament,
World Martial Arts tournament.
Yeah, so it's really sick seeing her, and then you have King Piccolo, and like there's a bunch of other stuff in the game that's just like from Dragon Ball, but yeah, of course you would need to have those new Dragon Ball content from Super. So.
Playable peel off in the robot. Let's go.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
The first game I've ever seen Chi-Chi be a fighter, so I'm just like, oh shit.
That's pretty cool.
Only other one was like I've seen her in Tenkaichi 3 as like a kid.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then like recently they added as her in the Breakers game, right? Or like is that out yet? I saw that they're going to add her, but I don't know if it's out.
To the Breakers collection?
Breakers, sorry, Dragon Ball.
The Breakers.
Dragon Ball.
Sorry, yeah.
Dragon Ball Dead by Daylight.
Dragon Ball Dead by Daylight. Yeah.
Yeah. The game's not doing
She's
that
also
great.
in that mobile game, I think. I don't know what. Is it Dokkan? There's 3 models.
Yeah,
right?
Isn't like
there's,
everyone in
everything
Dokkan? Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone's in Dokkan.
Yeah.
So,
those are the only games though.
so I guess there was like one other thing that I wanted to have you do here, and that would be I have actually. This is something that we kind of always do a little bit here
go, baby.
with all of our guests. So if you
wait, can I mention something? But
sure.
I forgot to mention about like things that I would want to address like in a future release. I mean,
sure.
There's
Yeah,
something that like, what do you call it? It's definitely good to have an arcade version. I would definitely make sure there's another arcade version. And something you guys should know, or like anyone watching this should know about the arcade version of this game, is that it used IC cards, like the cards that you like save your data on.
Yep.
They expire. It's a big deal for the people who play on arcade, like in Asia. They expire after 500 plays, and they don't make those cards anymore. So like, if anyone is able to like reverse engineer them or anything, like produce new ones,
there's
how do I
put this? So have you ever heard of I believe they're called badgers? Have you ever heard of this before? So essentially there's a technology that you can use to duplicate any kind of card or so essentially what it does is it's like a fob, right? In a way where it's like you take it and you can take it to you could even take it to a credit card. Actually, you can take it to a credit card or any kind of fob to get into a building, and you could take it and you could use it to copy it to that fob, to that computer thing, right? And then so you could take that. So like, let's say your dad worked at a company that was like high security and you needed like clearance, right? So let's say he worked at Nintendo. Okay, so what you could do is you could take your dad's Nintendo swipe and then you could copy it, and then you could walk into the building and they would it would basically swipe you in as him. Right.
So put it on your Mario amiibo and swipe in.
Yeah, you could even duplicate an amiibo, anything that kind of is similar to that. Yeah, of course. Legally speaking, don't do this, but these exist. I've seen these before. They're kind of expensive, but yeah, you could definitely do that. That's not like out of this world, but like if you love Super Dragon Ball Z and you want to keep those cards, like maybe that could be an option. I don't know if like the expiration date is a card expiration date or like a software expiration date.
Oh, it's after a number of uses. Like you can only play 500 times.
500 plays.
But like,
got you.
What do you call it? I don't know if like the card just like it dies or whatever, or like
it just dissolves. Oh no.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
I don't know too much about like how these cards actually work. So I mean, it'd be cool to try it out, see if that does work, but like I'm sure that you're gonna have to like do some sort of research and development on like
I mean, do you have one of those or?
Yeah, I have IC cards in different states. Like I have a few like unused ones, and then Wifery's one of the Japanese players. He gave me some cards that are in different states. Like one that has already expired and the data has been transferred. One that's expired but the data is still on there, and then one that's like already been used but it's not expired yet. And then I have like 2 pairs of the card readers, and I have 2 of the Namco systems as well. So I have all the equipment and stuff for playing it, but
how much do they cost? Like
the Namco system or the IC cards?
No, to get the cards, yeah.
I mean, it just depends on how much you wanna, or how much someone wants to sell them for. Some people try to charge like ridiculous prices, but like,
what's a ridiculous price?
I mean, I would say $10 per card is kind of stupid, but I've seen more than that. Like I've seen someone try to charge like $1,000 for like 50 of them. I'm like, people try to just take advantage. So
man, that's pretty rough. Okay.
But then you do see like every once in a while there's like someone puts up a decent deal. And that's when like, so like the Japanese players, they just have to like look online for these cards, and like what they do is they just after they buy them online, they'll just like give them to the arcade so that they can sell them like 3 per person, so they don't run out as fast.
Right.
Be nice to find like a warehouse of those things, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
So with that, we do a little thing here now where I like to typically do this. Now we have a definitive tier list of fighting games. And so what we like to do is we have what we want to do is we have the guest. We give you 3 moves, and you can move any of these games up or down. Right? So I'm actually gonna post it inside the Discord chat here. Share my screen.
I don't think Super Dragon Ball is even on the list, to be brutally honest.
I think it is. It's Dragon Ball Super, but I think
I think I've seen that tier list before. Yeah.
Yeah. So here it's like
made by the definitive experts, us.
by us and other fighting game professionals as well. So
not
this is acting like kind of chunky right now.
So. Puyo Pop Fever, great fighting game.
Okay, so hold on, let me close this down here so it looks good on stream. Yeah, it's acting super chunky.
I can see it.
Okay. Is it moving okay on your side?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, cool. So we have a lot of fighting games here. I don't know if you have anything particular that you know of that you would want to move into a different spot. We have Tenkaichi, or if anything kind of grabs you in particular, or like off the top of your head, you want something to be in a certain spot. Well, this is what we have for the top tier.
Chicken nuggies.
Chicken nuggies.
S tier.
They're always S tier. Always.
I refuse to let a guest move chicken nuggies.
Refuse.
Chicken nuggets here.
So you said 3 to move into a different location.
You can move. Yes, you can move 3 games either up or down to a spot here.
Where's that Dragon Ball Super icon?
It is down. I believe it's down here.
You tell us.
I believe this is it right here.
That one.
I think
the
that's
Dragon Ball
it.
Super.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where should this go?
Oh man. Do I be biased or not?
Hey, it's your choice. You can do whatever you want here. Also, I can go ahead and I can make it an appropriate. I can make it an appropriate like Super Dragon Ball Z icon. I believe I can import icons as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can send you an icon for SUZ.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have logos too, like PNG logos.
Oh, okay.
So it should be okay. I should.
Yeah, I mean, let's see.
Where's Super Dragon Ball Z going, my man? I know that's. Wait,
let me take a look at the top tiers again. I'm kind of trying to.
Can I actually move stuff? Because it's not seemingly not letting me. Hold on, let me see.
Did you just load up the image and not the list?
I think I did, because it's like
remix this list.
Yeah,
that'll shuffle everything around.
Oh no.
Well.
No, it didn't.
Oh wait, no, it didn't.
Oh, now you can edit it.
Yeah. Okay, we should be good.
Okay, yeah, you just loaded the base image then.
Yeah, I did.
Oof,
so
close.
anyway, so you wanted to see the top tier again? Is that what you said?
Wait. Yeah. Let's look at the top tier. Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. Here's our top
There's
tier.
a lot of games on this damn list.
There is.
Interesting that Bloody Roar 3 is next to Extreme.
That's because this is like pretty much Primal Fury, I believe. But it's,
is that not Extreme?
Yeah, it might be Extreme. The problem is no one can actually see because it just shows the top of the. Do you know what I mean? Like, not all of these images are like appropriately sized to the tier list. Honestly, I feel like I should go through and change these just to straight logos, and that would probably help quite a bit. But
move Tekken up one? No. What? Nah.
I guess I'm just like moving this stuff around according to what I think. So
Yeah, no, that's the entire point.
I mean, that
Yeah.
is the goal.
You can be as
So it doesn't
biased
really
as you
matter where any of
absolutely
this
want.
other
No,
stuff
you can be
is.
as biased as you want. It doesn't matter.
okay.
Yeah. You could be
Yeah,
like,
because I was
Super
like
Dragon
looking at the
Ball?
other ones just to
Shit,
see like,
S
okay,
tier?
I was trying to gauge like where this other stuff was, but I guess that it doesn't really matter. Okay,
You know,
so
it matters to an extent.
I mean, I
It
personally would
doesn't
put
matter, stop
SDBZ in
pressuring it.
S tier. It's a real game. Like there's like, you know,
That's
the things that are wrong with it, like almost like don't matter. Like it's a great. Game.
I knew he'd come in swinging with that S tier Super
Yeah.
Dragon Ball.
Most certainly.
No bias
It's not biased if
whatsoever.
you're right?
It's I have a hard time like I can say like the things that are wrong with it, but I don't think those things like matter very much at all. Like
I feel like Nuggies should be moved to the top of S tier, you know, so there's no confusion.
I agree. That seems
also,
fair.
I guess I'm being
Perfect.
biased because I don't really care that it doesn't have like single player content that much. So
Yeah,
like,
single player
but
in my
Absolutely.
multiplayer fighting game.
who
Whatever.
cares, dude? Yeah.
So-
Okay.
Who needs it?
So you have 2 more moves. You can literally
Yeah.
move anything down. Like if you want to demote something, you can do that too.
Interesting. I guess I would rather play stuff on the list because there's a lot of stuff that's like not ranked yet. So let's go down to the bottom again.
Sure.
Let's see. Slap City's not ranked yet. I would. Shoot. Put it in S. Put Slap City in S, dude.
Where's Slap City?
Slap City. It's at the top of the haven't played yet. It's
Oh, right here.
Yep.
You want this in
Yeah.
S?
yeah. That is a good game.
Oh man, the S tier
If
shake.
you guys
up.
like platform fighters and you like melee and
We
stuff.
don't.
or
We
PM.
don't like platform fighters, but
Oh, you
I
don't?
like
I'm
platform
fine
fighters.
with platform
Yeah,
fighters.
just
I
don't
said
play
I
them
played
now.
Slap City.
okay.
Yeah, it's a good one.
You've
It's
got
like,
you've got one more
problem.
move.
One more
more.
move.
Yeah, one more move.
It's your move.
Yeah,
Okay, let's see.
move. Yeah, you cannot tell me the English opening for Yu-Gi-Oh was not a jam. I'm sorry.
It was pretty much jam.
Is Rumblefish 2 on the list? Because I see that Rumblefish, but I don't know if that's.
It might be. It might be in like. If it was in here, it'd probably be in C somewhere. Let's see. Rumblefish 2. Rumblefish 2.
I don't see it.
Yeah. I mean, we could probably import it though.
I think it was in Haven't Played actually.
Really?
There was the Rumblefish and haven't played, but
Oh yeah, the Rumblefish is in here.
yeah.
What, is
I guess
that-
you could just
haven't played it.
say
I thought
that's
I saw
Rumblefish 2.
2.
Is that Sam Show 2? I played a
I
little
guess
of the Sam
I-
Show 2.
guess
Yeah,
I-
again, it was
guess
by
I
like
didn't.
majority. I don't
Maybe
play Sam Show 6 though.
Carno's Revenge. Let's put that on there.
Where? Oh yeah. Where's Karnoff going?
Yeah, where's Carnival?
Let's see. Maybe in B. Let's do B. Yeah,
In B, you want Karnoff in B?
All right.
that's a fun ass game.
Karnoff's a good game.
Above unlimited codes in Guilty Gear 1. Okay.
What?
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean-
I actually didn't realize that this is it's at the bottom of the list. What are you talking about?
Hey, that's D.
This is B,
Or no, that's
you
B.
dingus.
I just can't read.
Like it's almost like I'm doing it and you're telling me it's wrong.
I still can't believe you put unlimited codes in C.
Yeah, same.
Are we
Game's
okay?
fire.
Where? Okay, so fine. Where?
That's
do you-
my
where-
contribution.
Where does unlimited code belong, Quint?
At least in B. The game is so
At
fun.
least B, yeah.
Yeah, we could do a revision of this list here in the
Might have.
future.
Oh god.
Later,
I mean, look,
at a later date.
At the very least, we have a base, so it's not like it's going to take us forever to sort through it.
The
This
last
next
Blade
time.
2 was in C also? I don't know how I feel about that.
Wait, where is? Damn, where is?
I would
know
recommend
people would-
doing away with the. I personally would do away with the wasted potential, because I would just treat the game for what it is, you know.
Where's
if you're
I think
ranking
for
them.
some games that like they have amazing ideas, the execution just isn't 100%. You know what I mean?
I feel like a
good.
lot of games kind of like,
A?
there's stuff that they didn't account for or whatever.
Okay.
So
Like, they were about to cash out on the damage and they dropped the combo. You know what I mean?
So yeah,
Codes is fire.
look, Tekken 7 absolutely deserves to be an S tier, man. This game's great. Come on, man. We're all a bunch of Tekken heads here,
Has the lowest Metascore. Okay, yeah, but people also haters.
but it's also like the most played Tekken ever. So come on now.
Yeah.
Wait,
Most
really?
selling.
Soul Calibur 2 and A tier? Ugh, I don't know.
What?
you guys
August-
think Tag 2 and 6 are like next to 3 and 5 though? Dark Resurrection?
No, but,
Look, honestly, that wasn't my choice. That was someone else's
Oh,
choice.
someone else's. Okay,
That was the other
okay.
guest we had that was there. Like, okay, so first of all, the people that have contributed to this list, I believe, are Quaiface Miles, and I think, did we have RPG, My Life is an RPG, touch this list, or did we run out of time? I think we ran out of time. But yeah, so
We
like,
might have run out of time.
so you have a lot of different opinions. This is like the opinions of like 6 people, like mishmashing. So you're gonna get a lot of like conflicting things. And when I did an interview with Quietface, she was the one who kind of like picked some of these choices. And so like also putting Slap City and Super Dragon Ball Z in S tier is wild. I don't think they deserve to be up there.
I'm blown away,
Look.
but it's fine.
Yeah, like what am I gonna do though? Like those are your choices. You move them there. I gave you the opportunity, so I gotta hold that, right? So,
Be up there with Melee? Like, I don't know.
By the way, we still have like Gundam versus Maxi Boost, like in the haven't played for some
I'll
reason.
tell you what, my man.
And
Have you played them? I haven't played them.
of course I've played them. I love Gundam.
Maxi Boost is a great game. I've watched
See?
Alan do it. I don't own a
He's
PS4, though.
watched it. He's never played it.
It's a great game.
Haven't
He's probably
played.
never played Unlimited Codes either, but
No.
Well, you
I'm
know
still
what?
gonna take his
Why don't
vote.
If you know, you know.
Look, that's why we need rollback, so we can play unlimited code, and then Quint can be like, "Look at how cool this game is," and then we can all disagree with him. It's gonna be great.
Oh, okay.
I'm kidding.
Fate Unlimited Codes works on the PCSX2 netplay. And I will say that I feel like the netplay is decent. I show it to people a lot of times. They're like actually surprised how well it works. So you guys might as well start playing.
I don't know. Unlimited Codes, you have to be like on point for those combos. We're talking like 1 frame links.
Did you say? Oh, you're in Washington, but
Yeah.
It's coast to coast. That might be a little rocky, but
or delay. I don't know.
I ain't doing no
I would say
archer
just try
loops on coast to coast.
so
I think you would probably enjoy it. I would just say give it a try.
So GP Bear, I had a kind of follow-up question that I probably should have asked earlier because we're already off the topic.
Oh, there we go.
Besides Super Dragon Ball Z,
Really should have been ended this episode,
game
but
of
go
that,
on.
like weird experimental like 3D 2.5D era.
I kind of just started looking into Fighting Layer.
Ooh, I love that game.
Game's fun.
Yeah,
It's weird. You fight a shark.
yeah. It's I mean, I haven't played it enough to like, really have a solid, understanding of it. But like, I mean, I've really enjoyed it so far. Like, I've learned some cool combos in that game. It's really cool, and the characters, like, there's a lot of interesting characters too. Like, and I just like how Arika's game design is. Like, after I got into SDBZ, I kind of like started to really try to understand like the similarities between the games that they make, like Street Fighter EX, Fighting Layer, Super DBZ, and Fighting EX Layer and stuff. So I just really like how they designed their games.
And so
That one,
they're always very experimental with their titles.
yeah, like they have in the old Street Fighter EX games, each time they had like a character that's you could customize, or something like weird like that. Like,
yeah, there was in EX3, there's like a guy, I can't remember his name.
Ace.
Yeah, it was Ace. Yeah, where you could just like give him a bunch of different move sets. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, and the old ones they had like the alpha or whatever character, like like beta or something. Like they had some of the characters that are named off of those alpha beta things that like you could customize too. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, did they help with unlimited codes, or is that like aiding?
No, that's aiding.
That's
Aiding is another developer that they make crazy games. Like they made Fate Unlimited codes. They made the Clash of Ninja like GNT games. They made
Marvel 3.
Marvel 3, Bloody Roar, Tatsunoko vs. Capcom. Like crazy cool games. Really cool games.
And now they made DNF Duel.
Oh yeah.
Did not finish.
Hey, if you wanted one player Marvel, you got it. That's all I'm saying.
The people who like that game really like it.
They did.
You know, I think it's just how aiding is. Like, they make some crazy games, so you should know what you're getting into. There's like gonna be some insane stuff.
Give me some bullshit.
Yeah.
They do like their BS, man. But okay, so with that, guys, this has been the Backlog Podcast, number 48. Yo, Quint, where can people find you?
Streaming over on twitch.tv/QuintessenceHD. Posting memes and random crap on Twitter, also QuintessenceHD. And
nice.
That's about it right now.
GP Bear, where can people find you, man?
I'm gpbear4 on everything. Like Twitter is where I'm pretty active. I'm on YouTube, the same username. Twitch, same username. Instagram, even like
nice.
Snapchat's like the same username everywhere.
Yo, August, where can people find you, man?
On the Same Back Time, Same Back channel. Looking for news and memes in the Backlog Podcast.
Nice. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. You can find the Backlog on Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, or on YouTube, and pretty much anywhere you can find podcasts. So with that, guys, this has been the Backlog Podcast number 48. We'll see you soon. Peace out, y'all.
Peace.
Take care.
Peace.
Bye-bye.